think that I just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, wait, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. It feels so good to be back. I told y'all, it's a war going on outside, man. And as a fan, sometimes you spend a lot of time looking to your left and your right. And everyday boxing in the business and what's going on never ceases to amaze. I'm gonna get into some things today, and the little curriculum part gonna be real short, man. I just want to put out awareness when it comes to these narcissists, man, online that know it all. Don't get swayed. Get back into using your critical thinking skills when you breaking this stuff down, man. Don't get all caught up in the he say, she say stuff. We're starting to follow the bouncing ball more often. Balls going in holes, soccer balls going in goals. But a lot of times, man, I've been hearing that the narcissists, the ones who have control of the conversation, which is cool. Some narcissists, I guess, a lot of people are effective because they really hammer home their point. But a couple things you want to keep in mind. It's only like 3 of these I'm going to go through, and then we're going to get right into it. And I'm going to break it all down and come out, and we're going to have a good time talking this boxing talk. A narcissist was never going to be happy or make you happy. However, they will never stop blaming you for the misery that they create. That's one. Gaslighters confuse, intimidate, and disempower people for the purpose of controlling other people and promoting the abuser's interests. Remember when I said just 3 of them, right? A narcissist will say, I never said that, when you both damn well know they said that. They will then try to make you feel like you're becoming unhinged for calling them out on the very thing they said. You'll then start to second guess your recollection or reality and begin to wonder if you're the problem. Guess what? You're not. You are, however, deep in the mind of effery of a relationship with the very ashamed narcissist and toxic human being, hell-bent on breaking your spirit. A lot of this stuff be about energy, man, and I'm gonna bring it home. A lot of the times I see this, like here recently, man, when it come down to the PBC and anything they got going on, the very first thing that people do or have been doing here of recent is to try to hamstring the fights. Like, the first impression, like every single solitary fight that the PBC has announced has been met with this onslaught of mudslinging and you know what I'm saying? You know what people been out here doing with the PBC. And I'm like, man, to have a big transition on platform, to hear somebody like Jamal Charlo just later today, he said, man, Al's sick. And he went on to talk, and it was a little snippet, but nobody was really paying attention to that. They were so stuck on the fact that he's saying Boo Boo Andre's name and how trash of a fight that would be. I'm like, man, like when they really start getting to it, that's how you recognize that a lot of people that's talking about boxing, man, they're really not about the action, man. They just want to see the drama. They love the trash talk. They want us to tear each other down. They want to divide and conquer us, splinter us in our conversation. And even some of us who actually try to keep the facts, put the stakes in the ground, provide the nutritional content to the whole situation, that goes out the window. You only get credit for those things like 3 to 6 months later or 2 weeks later, or in perhaps of what I was actually trying to communicate on August the 29th. August the 29th, I came out and I did a video, right? And I gotta lay this foundation, man, because this is just the initial look and it's a ways out, but this is my initial take. But on August 29th, I did a video. It was called Groundhog's Day. What do you mean, Mike? If you listen, I'm gonna tell you, right? Listen, I did it called Groundhog's Day. You know, imagery can be triggering depending on how you look at it. Like this is just saying, listen, we've seen these things before. And my argument was with Fundora wanting a big money fight, because he ain't gonna say it, but he want to get his big payday too. You know what I'm saying? He know it's risky. He been through. He got knocked out by Mendoza. Got that nose broke. You know, he been through you know, he's been living a boxer's life. You know what I'm saying? And he a tough customer, but he want his payday. And all I was really saying was, man, listen, I didn't hear from Jamel right away when he lost. Regis had left me on red. Sabril Matias, he left me on red. After Errol went dark. I said, man, if you a fan of certain fighters and you're not one of them people that's just gonna, you know, just grab a hold of any kind of thing just to, you know what I'm saying, say something, it's like they really give you nothing to go by. Because I really want to report on these guys when they have a fight, what's going on, how they look, so we can analyze. Hopefully we can make some bread. That's what I'll be trying to do. I'll be trying to see what's going on. Hopefully we can make some bread. We put our little picks in and do whatever. Make some bread, enjoy the fights, and then talk about what really happened. But when they leave you on red, you don't have nothing to go by. So this was never in defense of Errol Spence. I was just saying from a business standpoint, that had already been a plan. They had already, Fundora, when Errol, before the Spence fight, Fundora was saying he wanted to fight Errol Spence, and that he would be willing to go to 47. This was before the Bud fight. So that the foundation, all that had already been there. It's like, you know, when you on that Pac-Man board and you might have ate up the whole board, but down in the right-hand corner is you got one power pellet down in that corner, and you know you could just bend that curve and go down and hit that, you know what I'm saying? You bust that left and you bust that right, then you circle back down and you eat that pellet. You at least know that's down there. That was the equity that Spence and Fundora had already had with him being in, you know, Texas and all that. That's why a lot of people were flipping out with that whole A-side stuff and all the stuff that was going on when Errol and Bud had went up against each other. But Errol Spence had actually gathered Jerry's World to do it. And then he was down there in Texas. And then, you know, they say he, you know, more like the Mexican style. Like it was catering, it's fan friendly. It was, you know, it's rough, rugged. It's, you know, body work. So that was already done. The picture was already painted to where that was the most logical thing. If you're looking at it from a business standpoint, from a fan standpoint, we were looking like, man, that's going to be an odd fight. Look how tall he is. Look how, you know, compared to Spence. And Spence ain't no midget or nothing like that, you know, so it's like, man, that's going to be crazy. People was already imagining that when they were still trying to figure out who Fundora was and if he was legit or not. That was already in the bag. So when it comes around to this opportunity where it was about to be Bud and Fundora and the purse bid and all the negotiations was going on, right? My stance was that, look, man, if I go back in history and I look back at the Jamel Herring and the Shakur thing, right, and how that broke down, I said, this is going to look a lot like that, to where if Fundora doesn't play Jamel Herring, that fight is not going to happen. Now, he might have a little more equity because it's slightly different. Jamel and Shakur was kind of pulling from the same demographics, and that was just really, that wasn't pay-per-view. That was something totally different. So it had different complexions. But how it came down to the pieces of the pie, in which I don't like to count numbers and watch pocket, but when it came down to it, Jamel Herring was damn near forced down into a corner because of Shakur's value. That's why when Shakur went ahead and went over there with the Devin Haney situation, he went down like, well, that's a history, it's a precedence of him doing that with Jamel, because that's how he pushed. And that's when they had the whole thing, okay, well, they'll average the last 3 salaries, and this is what you're going to get, blah, blah, blah. Because Jamel Herring had the belt, and in that situation, Shakur was the challenger, but he got so much bread, and that was because it's worth that whole situation. I'm like, man, I don't think, this is my theory when I did this video, I said, I don't think that Fundora is going to allow that to happen right now, unless something can be worked out. I don't know, because it was in purse bid, it was going to purse bid, it was in purse bid, and then we found out that they had that extension. So I was like, man, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I was like, I don't know, man. If it's anything like that, I don't think, you know what I'm saying, especially with having the manager and how they do business and all that, I don't think that they're going to allow that to happen where that big bag is going to be missed. I think because, and then people were looking at it negative when he said, well, shoot, I'll just let the belt go because this is what we had. Like all these promotional companies, they have best laid plans. A lot of the times the fans are getting played because we act like we know, we think we got insiders. They keep a lot of stuff close to the vest, and a lot of stuff is down to timing. So instead of really looking at, okay, cool, is that logical that that's going to happen? People was just like, oh no. A lot of people might have thought, oh man, here you go again. It's like, no, this is keeping a track record, having a foundation of things that actually happened in history, and then just speaking on them. Because we see it over and over in the sport. We just be distracted around the conversations around it. Long story short, we didn't know what was going on with Spence. As an Errol Spence fan, nobody really knew. The only thing we knew, and I was like, I'm not going to touch it, was the whole Derrick James stuff. I was not going to touch it. I was like, I'm divided. I like Derrick James. I'm an Errol Spence fan. I like Frank Martin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not going to devalue Derrick James. And I definitely don't want to talk about who was this, who was, you know what I'm saying, sucking out of money in that whole deal. That's just ugly, man. To see where they started and where Earl was able to get. And then the rocky road that Derrick James had from being trainer of the year, actually having getting Undisputed. So he did know a little something about Undisputed because he already did it with Mel when him and Bomac was going back. So he did know a little bit about Undisputed because he did it with Mel. But to see all of that, I didn't want to get into that messy stuff, man. I was just sad to see. And you know, even back when Jermell was going to be facing, when everybody was trying to kick up and say Jermell was going to face Spence, I'm like, well, how that's going to work? Is Derrick James going to have to? I was like, no. I said, because at that point, I didn't know what the fighters were going to be without Derrick James being in either one of their corners. I never wanted to see that because of that reason, especially the trainer. And then I'm like, they in the same camp. It's like it would be the same thing as almost damn near like the same thing with the Shakur and the Keyshawn thing, except for people saying, no, that absolutely not. It's never going to happen. Our bond is deeper and blah, all this other stuff. So I was just like, man, for the sake of seeing two people at their best, I would rather have them both have their own trainers. Now, if they were to break away, get their own thing, decide they want to get their Creed stuff on now, okay. You know what I'm saying? As long as it makes sense. But nobody knew what was going on with Errol Spence. There are still big questions that was going on with Errol Spence because we heard about changing in trainers. You know what I'm saying? Finding a home. It was pictures of sparring and things like that. And then pictures of him, you know, and people guesstimating their size and putting their caption on it and just stirring people up. Nobody had nothing concrete because Earl really ain't been out there, you know what I'm saying, providing no information like that lately. So we find out that this fight right here, this Bud and Fundora thing, that it was an extension, and then they came to an agreement to where this was predicted. Now, the first time I had really court win and really thought about this, this was 6/11/24 when I made this thumbnail. I think it's in a couple of my lives. I never wanted to commit to the fight because I never thought that the fight was going to happen. I was unsure. Why? Because we didn't hear anything about Errol. It kind of made sense when you see him going into the ring and all that, getting in the ring, and that whole moment that they captured, you know, almost like Devin and getting in the ring with Loma. Since they had that, they're gonna be able to build on that for the production of it and the rollout and the lead up, you know, in the storyline, the way PBC is known to do. That was the only warm and fuzzy I got, but nobody was hearing from Errol Spence. You know, I mean, it was select few, I guess, but I didn't know. I was nobody that I thought was credible in the narrative that was being painted around it. I don't trust them. Why? Because every time PBC announced a fight, people come out here and hamstring. Because let's think about the video I did not so long ago when I said, man, it's almost like as soon as the boxing guys deliver David Morrell and David Benavidez, it's almost like the Grinches came out and they were just like talking about how that fight don't need to happen and this and all this stuff. And I said, man, are we boxing fans or not? And guess what happened? Guess what happened? Not even damn near about a week and a half later, David Benavidez come out and announce it. They hamstringed the shit out that fight. All of the press was negative. I said, man, I can't believe this. When Tank came out and finally said, listen, man, somebody finally willing to sign on the dotted line. We're going to get it on. And look, man, we're going to get it on at the end of the year. They hamstringed it. Everybody right now is doing the blind pledge of allegiance, basically saying, oh, man, like people just standing up on top of like putting trash cans, but saying Basura. It's like every time PBC announce something, they get out here and they trash these fights before they even get made. I said, let me sit back and just wait and just watch and just listen, man. I'm not going to get too overboard. Let me see. Let me keep some traction. Let me do my research. Let me follow the bouncing ball and see what we're actually getting. So idealistically, we didn't get a Bud in Fundora. They agreed for later, so that's off the table. We didn't get it. So that ball did not go in that hole. What we are getting is an Errol Spence and a Fundora, and right now that's in the funnel to where if it gets across the finish line, much like how people have their fingers crossed, we 2 days away from undisputed light heavyweight. So people are having their fingers crossed. But for some of us, we have a little trepidation because we knew about Virgil Ortiz and Amantes Stanyanis. We knew they was going to get it on, and that never happened. That never happened. So it was a couple fights that we knew about that we were going to see. We knew ahead of time, and for whatever reason, they didn't cross the finish line. So just for fair use purposes such as criticism, people commenting, news reporting, teaching, and scholarship and research. You know, this is why I use these things. You know, I never take credit for anything. But you know you that guy. You know you that guy, man, when Forbes come out and report it. Forbes, man. And I've been surprised at how many people say, oh, they want Errol to just hang it up. They want him to do this. I'm like, man, he's a gladiator. You know, who knows, man? We've seen people take beatings and do this and that, and he's going to know, man. Like boxing, like B-Hop said, boxing will cause your bluff. But I've never seen like so much of the backlash and the criticism Errol Spence gets on a comeback. You know, when he was bringing 3 stones to that table, man. You know, but whether he's in shape, whether he's black, I just want to see the dude get back in the ring. Terrence Bud Crawford actually proving me, and he etched it in my stone that activity, staying active is the most important thing a fighter can do. When I thought, like, oh man, what about the risk of twisting the ankle? It's like, Well, yeah, a minor thing, you know what I'm saying? Don't be doing no bungee jumping and shit like that. But like staying active, yeah. Go play some paintball. Go ride some dirt bikes if you know how to ride. And you know what I'm saying? Go get active. You know what I'm saying? Shoot some hoops. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't go, activity. That's all people really wanted from Earl. If you're gonna still do it, Earl, get active. So Forbes came out, Errol Spence Jr.'s return fight confirmed. And it could be a war. Brian Mazik, that's the contributor of this, got an image of Earl. Errol Spence Jr. will have another shot at a world title when he returns to the sweet science. But he's not getting a soft touch. On Wednesday, the way was clear for Spence to challenge WBC and WBO super welterweight champion Sebastian Fundora. Per multiple sources, the fight is expected to land in January and to take place in Spence's home state of Texas. ESPN's Mike Kopp offered some details. Mike Kopp. Ahead of tomorrow's WBO deadline, Terence Crawford and Sebastian Fundora reached a resolution to allow Fundora to proceed with voluntary defense, with the understanding the junior middleweight title unification will be explored afterward. Sources told ESPN this paves the way. So you can go catch Mike Kopp. That's the source. 5:52 p.m. October 9th. This is the fight Spence wanted. Fundora smashed his way onto the radar of a slew of fight fans when he stepped in on short notice for an injured Keith Thurman to take on undefeated Tim Tszyu with the PBC and the WBO titles on the line in March. In a strong candidate for Fight of the Year, Fundora outlasted Tim Tszyu, dethroning him via split decision in a bloody all-action fight. Spence was at the T-Mobile Arena for the fight, climbed into the ring to challenge Fundora. At one point, it appeared Spence and his rival Terence Crawford were both chasing an opportunity to fight Fundora. However, Crawford's agreement with Fundora on Wednesday paved the way for the latter to fight Spence in 2025. Crawford, who won the regular WBA super welterweight title via unanimous decision over Israel Madrimov in August, was mandatory for Fundora. Their agreement says that Fundora can fight Spence in voluntary title defense, but he must revisit the negotiations with Crawford later in the year if he wins. Fundora poses a matchup challenge that few in his weight class carry. He's 6'5.5" and somehow consistently makes 154 pounds. And that's him right there. I call him the landlord. He own up all that real estate when he want to, you know. Fundora has a whopping 80-inch reach. And when he's at his best, he uses it to keep opponents at the end of his jab. As long as Fundora is, he tends to get in the brawls. That tendency has made him a fan favorite fighter, but it also led to the only loss of his career, a KO at the hands of Brian Mendoza in April of 2023. Spence will look to score a similar result when he clashes with Fundora. The agreement seems to be a win-win-win for all parties involved. Crawford may have received step-aside money to allow Fundora to fight Spence, and he still has the opportunity to take on the winner in a potentially more lucrative bout later in 2025. Now, I don't know anything about no step-aside money, man. I'm just reading this article because this is the place where I chose to use. I don't know why I was doing that. Fundora may not be getting the payday with Spence that he would have gotten if he fought Crawford, but it's a more prominent opponent than he would have gotten elsewhere if he beat Spence. His stock grows even more, and he brings more to the table in a potential fight with Crawford. Spence, who Crawford beat severely in July 2023, needs an opportunity to bounce back. And that has Bud Devastating Spence. He's getting that chance against a young and hungry champion. If Spence wins, he's back in the mix, and perhaps that rematch with Crawford will be back on the table. Even if the second fight with Crawford doesn't happen, Spence could face Fundora in a rematch, Zoo, or even an up-and-coming 154-pounder like Xander Zayas. Overall, this agreement seems good for the fighter, fans, and the sport. A piece by Brian Mazik, man. That's according to the Forbes. Now you know when you dealing with the Forbes, baby, that's big news. That's big news. You know what I'm saying? Only other thing I had, man, before I come out is this here, man. We got to get back into some things. Let me see. Oh, I think it's short. This one is short. All right. I gotta go back and update these pieces. Some of these pieces, because at one point in time, man, they was striking me, man. They was copyright striking me. I said, man, I had a bunch of I guess unfriendly non supporting people, man, that didn't like, I guess they didn't like what I was doing. So I stopped doing it because it is, to put that work in, and then they make you take it down because of that. Now I gotta do this, man. This is just for which part of this? This is for scholarship and research right here. We're getting ready to look at the landlord. Here you go. So that was that one. It's the last one. It's the last one right here. Remember how we were talking about how people get treated, man, after losses, man. There you have it. They saying EJ coming back against Fundora. I showed you both of them guys. All right. Sound like $1,000,000. Salute. Salute, Cookie Monster. I appreciate that. Let me see. Okay. Body work. Salute, Cookie Monster. Sound like $1,000,000. Salute, Body Work. His twin, man. Your graphics be dope, man. I appreciate that. Brooklyn Hit. AC, what's good? Salute, Body Work. Salute. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now, okay. Oh, the volume was off. On the actual videos. See, I never be having a problem with that. But I have mixed feelings, man. I don't want to see Errol come back if it's premature. But Errol the type to where Errol gonna do what he gonna do, man. Fundora is one of my guys as well. So the landlord up against the machine. I'm hearing Jamal, he's wanting to fight Andrade. We got, or he said if not, then he'll fight Caleb Plant, but I think he kind of put a next year on it. David Morrell and David Benavidez, they getting it on. AC.
Yeah.
What's good, man?
What's good, bro? I'm with you on the Errol Spence thing. I've always been an Errol Spence fan and things like that, and I'm thinking if he's coming back, is there a little air of prematureness to it? Maybe, but Errol Spence always been tough like that. That dude is like the man of steel, Steve Austin, $6 million man. Like he gets rebuilt and just comes back even better than he was, in my opinion, than before. I didn't see a slowdown in him like after the car accident and everything. He looked pretty good in those fights. So at the end of the day, I don't think, like I'm gonna keep saying it. I like Fundora, but I don't think he fights to his abilities. So if they really gonna do this fight and this fight get made and everything, I'm still gonna go for Errol Spence.
Yeah, I'm pulling for my guy. This was the first thing that came to mind, man, when I did this.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it looked like, kind of.
Dalsim and Balrog.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I hope Earl do it right. Again, I question the coaching. Like that's a mystery. Okay, who gonna coach you? And no matter how people see Fundora's he's dangerous, man.
yeah,
Because every time somebody get their ass waxed or something happen, because that was a brutal fight with him and Tim Tszyu, but having that experience, if you're not broken down, then you learn something. If you know what I'm saying, every battle you're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, I know, not okay, all right, this is what I gotta do. So you learn from those, even when you take a loss.
yeah. Like, like he's to me, he's if Fundora finds his home, he's going to be a very, very dangerous fighter for the rest of his career. And I would say if he finds his home or found his home, uh, he's going to stay undefeated for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Which then would tell me until I saw the fight, he could definitely beat Errol Spence. I'm not saying he can't beat Errol Spence. I'm saying he can. If he found his home, he can beat Errol Spence. He knows how to use do his thing like old boy up top and just put some length on those jabs and everything. He's gonna be an impossible nigga to beat because it's gonna be too hard to get around him. Get around that stick he keeps slapping you with. So at the end of the day, bro, this ain't an easy fight for Errol Spence. It ain't an easy fight to come off a hard loss, and then you say, you know what, I want to fight um, Sebastian Fundora. Like any other person would say, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you take a easy out to see if you're gonna build your confidence back? And he's like, you know what? Fuck all that. I'll build my confidence back by going after one of the toughest guys in the division, and it's Sebastian Fundora. And you gotta say, listen, that's nothing but pure fucking dog. Fuck what people saying. Just to come back and say, after the loss I had, everybody else would have took an easy fight, but I'm coming back to fight Sebastian motherfucking Fundora. What? You gotta respect that statement right there. He's saying I'm back.
So let me ask you something though. How does Earl do you think Earl gotta win? He just gotta come out with the dub, or what are people expecting from Earl?
With Errol Spence, I would say this, and I'm gonna keep speaking from the one thing that's actually gonna matter for him moving forward. Public perception says all you need is the win. He doesn't need to get the win in a spectacular fashion, because what you're doing alone to come off that loss and then come out and fight Sebastian Fundora and beat him, even if it's a split decision, you feel what I'm saying? Still says, all right, I won. I moved up to 54. Now I got 2 belts, and I beat a very, very tough out. Like,
Right. Okay.
Go ahead.
So it's 2 different beads on Fundora, because people were talking about Fundora one way when he was about to fight Crawford, and now it's being announced that he about to fight Spence. It's sounding a little different, but what's your take on Fundora as far as what you're hearing and what you've seen from him? Like, because are they gonna? I see in a roundabout way, it's almost like if Fundora is to pull it off, he ain't gonna get no credit for this or something like that, because the thing is that EJ is damaged. Like, how do you see Fundora?
If Fundora beats Errol Spence, I see it as it in public perception wise. I don't think it gives him too much of a bump, but uh, it will give him legitimacy. We have to remember, people in boxing or public perception, memory is as good as the last fight. So with that being said, it's like, okay, he goes out, Sebastian Fundora, he looked good against Tim Tszyu. He got the public perception pass with that. Now you're gonna go in and you're gonna beat Errol Spence. That's another pass. Now you got the keys, I would say, not pass. You got the Tim Tszyu key. Now he's got the Errol Spence key. All right, the Errol Spence key will open up a lot of doors for you. The Tim Tszyu key opens up doors, but the Errol Spence key, that shit'll open up a lot of doors when it comes down to going into this building called public perception. It'll give you the pass to the express elevator. So he's gonna be in the mix. He is the mix. He's got two of the belts. You feel what I'm saying? And he's the only fighter there that has two belts.
Yeah.
So Fundora is the mix. You don't do shit without Fundora. And then he's gonna know his leverage. So he may not get the bump as far as like the hardcore fans, oh yeah, or the ones who were Bud fans but still can't stop talking negative about Errol Spence. They're the ones who's gonna say, oh, he's damaged goods, he's this, he's that. I don't give Tim Tszyu I don't give Fundora any credit because just look at the way he just can't. Errol Spence lost and car accident and eye surgery and every other thing. So at the end, for me, I'm just gonna call it down the middle. You know what I'm saying? Fundora's I don't think the push is gonna be a lot, but within the business, public perception, it's not gonna be a lot. But within the business, he's the guy with all the keys right now. Or
So
two of the main keys.
Good. If you had to put a percentage on it, is this a 50-50 fight, or what? How do you see that part? The odds.
Ooh. I'm honestly, I'm probably gonna say this. I know I'm gonna say this. It's unfortunately it's gonna be the second fight in a row that Errol Spence is gonna go into where the odds are gonna lean towards the other guy, not him. I just don't see right now him getting a nod, or I would be surprised if he got the nod where the odds would be for him to win fighting Sebastian Fundora. So if Errol Spence wins, it's gonna be like an upset to the guy who formerly has two belts. You know, it's a comeback, upset. Did he ever lose something? It's the hype is just gonna be tremendous if Errol goes in there and he beats him, drops him, or stops him.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a big fight for Errol. You know what I'm saying? It's a big fight for Fundora. You know.
Yeah, it's a big fight. I think it's a big fight for PBC. I mean, with all of the news and people thinking they was dead in the water, you know, I think it shows that there's still, there's still hope. There's still, contrary to what everybody's saying, they're actually announcing these fights, and these fights, it was a little delay. I always thought the transition over to Prime, it was going, because you gotta think they probably were perfectionists of some sorts, and then timing. Yeah. I knew the transition wasn't going to be like a snap of a finger, so I might have been a little more patient, like having You know what I'm saying? Love for them guys over there, but I mean, it's coming out now. Like, and I said this would happen because they can't pussyfoot around with the cards no more. Like now, we're starting to see stacked cards to where formerly like main event cards where you've been starving for like a month or two is now going to be up on the undercards. That's what I'm happy about, and I knew they was going to have to do that.
Yeah, well, when you look at the total outcome of it, it makes sense of what Crawford decided to do and just let everything work itself out. You know what I'm saying? So for me, when I look at the thing in totality, I'm like, all right, smart move, Crawford. Let these two guys hash it out, and then there's 3 belts on the line after this. You know who everybody's going to be rooting for, which just now made the fight even bigger. Now that we know there's no weird shit and nobody's going to be stripped, a lot of people going to watch this fight because I think, like I said, I think overall he's going to be, Errol Spence is not going to be the favorite in the fight because of the layoff and things like that. And they're going to definitely mention eye surgery layoff. But it's going to be a lot of Errol Spence fans watching this fight, and a lot of Crawford fans watching this fight, hoping that, you know, the ones of us that wanted to see the rematch and want to see it at 54, hey, let's go Spence. Let's get this shit done. You feel what I'm saying? Break big man down to the body, bro. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know if he'll be able to deal with that kind of pressure you bring.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah. Good points, man. I'm gonna dive deep in. I like to let some time go and see some updates, because you know how I feel about that part. But you heard anything? Because I'm gonna wrap it up soon. But you heard anything about anything new or any nuances to this? Any more flavor as this gets closer to the finish line?
Just everybody's locked in. Just everybody's locked in. I watched some of the open workouts, and everybody looked focused, locked in, like they just ready to make it happen. No slip ups or ups or anything like that. So, bro, they ready. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? You know, on that note, bro, that's where I land my plane. I'll let you, close out your show and everything. Great chatting with you, bro. On the next
All right, man. That'll work, man. Till the next time, man. Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there we have it, y'all. This is just the initial rollout, and to put something on your mind, man. PBC is definitely coming back. The cards are going to be stacked. I think we kind of got to be understanding with the news that Jamal came out and said Al was sick. I mean, a lot of our questions are being answered, wouldn't you say? Then we're going to see it, man. I'm happy for this fight. This fight would have been very interesting to watch. I would have liked that fight as well. I'm happy for this fight. Now the bouncing ball goes towards this fight. So I would recommend, man, don't get spun around and tossed around like a cheap frisbee. You know how they take them frisbees and they just toss them. They just don't get tossed around, like a frisbee with it. You know what I mean? Just relax, let everything play out, analyze the situation, and hopefully that's just another one that's actually going to get through. You know what I'm saying? And the fans won't be left with one of these. But if you catch this on the playback, man, talk to me. I talk back. This is nutritional value, fact-based content, not opinion-based. Fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. Whenever you see any of my videos, feel free to comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. You know, you have ideas, let me know. We don't do yes men over here. It was a wonderful piece, man. Wonderful. Blair the Flair Cobb sat down over there on Pop Smoke channel, and he sat down for like 2 hours, man. Answered all kind of questions. Genuine brother, man. Reminds me of a couple people I've come across, man, where you just want well for them when you see and hear what they got going on, man. But check that out. Classic interview. It's more of a session. You don't call them interviews. They're more like sessions where they just hanging out. We just shooting the breeze with them, man. And you get to see different sides of them as they give their opinions on boxing, man. So check out that Blair the Flair interview over there on Pop's channel. That's Pop a lot of you know, check them out. Subscribe to the channel, man. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, do so. Hit the like button. I talked to my man Anthony Sims. He messaged me back and said, man, I fell asleep. And I said, man, stuff like that happen, man. Just let me know. He's like, can we reschedule? I said, yeah, it's cool. You know, we can reschedule. I don't pump faking. It was a little embarrassing, but I don't pump fake, man. But he's a good dude, man. Stuff like that happen, man, where people, they live in their life. They got their things going on. But like I said, that's rescheduled. I don't know when that's going to be. But he just said he fell asleep, and I told him it's all good. Keep grinding, man. It's a lot of stuff going on. I know he's paying attention because 175, one of the most pivotal fights that can be made, if not the most pivotal fight that can be made in boxing, is getting ready to take place in 2 days. And then we got the two Davids. We might be having a Andrade and a Jamal, and we know we got a Errol and a Fundora. It sounds like the boxing guys are listening, man, and the boxing guys are doing some body work. You know what I'm saying? The boxing guys are doing some body work, the way I see it. But that's it, man. I like keeping these around an hour for the playback people that's listening, easily listening, man. Getting you know, you might have to go run some errand, want to catch up on some things, man, and just get my take on something, man. That's all it is, man. Just alternative to what everybody's saying. And again, if you believe that somebody like myself will just fall out with somebody just over a matter of opinion, you don't know me. So I'll leave y'all with that, man. I don't fall out with people for a matter of opinion, man. Flaws in character, deal breaking type things that go on, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But I'm at a point in time, man, where I love my boxing. You know, I want my pound of flesh just like every other fan. I just happen to do content, happen to keep putting stakes in the ground. That's what this channel is all about. You feel me? But I appreciate everybody who tuned in, man. Everybody who take the time to comment, like, subscribe, share the videos. Everybody, man. I appreciate y'all. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay. You want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.